Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome Dr. Vijay. He's here with us. So I welcome every one of you for the weekly webinar, CSE2, and this is the 16th webinar in the series. And we will start with the short video of our university. Myself, Dr. Swarnima, Assistant Professor, CSC Department. I welcome you all for this weekly webinar, Soawal-Cse 2. This is the 16th webinar, and for today's webinar, we have a guest as Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav. And we welcome you, sir, here for your time, and we welcome you to share your knowledge with us. We will start with the short biography of sir. Dr. Vijay is currently working as an assistant professor at Indira Gandhi Delhi Technical University for Women, New Delhi. He has earned his MTech and PhD in the area of cyber law and information security from the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad. And his thesis deals with the oblivious transfer of location based services. He has published his research work in various SCI index journals, and he has also presented his work at different international and national conferences. He has 18 SCI publications, out of which 4 are published in IEEE transactions and one in ACM Computing Survey, which shows his research quest. He also is serving as the reviewer of several prestigious and peer reviewed journals. His research areas include cryptography and information security, etc. Uh, sir, Dr. Vijay, over to you. I welcome you on this occasion. Please, please enlighten us with your topic. Today's topic is cryptographic primitives. Sir, please start.
Okay, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir,
Hello, am
you
I
are.
audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, first of all, good evening, all of you, and thank you so much for inviting me for this webinar. So, in the today's webinar, we will discuss about some basic theory behind the cryptography, such as secure construction of symmetric cryptography and public key cryptography. So, let's start. So, is this screen is visual to you?
Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Okay. So question is, so in this webinar, we will discuss about oh, what is cryptography, what are the main purpose of cryptography, and then I will talk about what is the way we can construct a secure public key encryption scheme and secure symmetric key encryption scheme. So let's start. The question is, what is cryptography? So it is basically derived from a Greek word, and actual meaning of Greek word is hidden secret. That means the term cryptography basically define a secret writing. That means we have a simple plain text or simple message, and our aim is to convert that plain text into an unintelligible data. So it basically provides three things. First one is confidentiality, second one is integrity, and third one is availability. So what is the actual meaning of confidentiality? So confidentiality stands for, suppose that a person A wants to share some information to the person B, right? At that time, the aim of the confidentiality is to only the person, when the person A sends some data to the person B, then only person B can read or modify that data. That means in between, no one can see that message. Next one is integrity. So again, let us. Take an example. Suppose that a person A wants to send some information to the person B. So in between, anyone cannot modify or alter that information. That is called as integrity. And third one is availability. So availability means the, the construction of a scheme is always or resource is always available to the legitimate user. So again, the question comes, what are the main purpose of the cryptography? So basically four main purpose. First one is authentication, then confidentiality, integrity, and non-repudiation. So what is the authentication means? So authentication basically proving, it is the process of proving users or things identity. For example, suppose that a person user identity is basically Aadhaar card. So by using Aadhaar card, we can say that this is the person, and by using Aadhaar card, we can authenticate that person. Next one is privacy or confidentiality. So again, suppose that a person A wants to share some information to the person B. So only that person B can read data, and in between, no one can read that data. Again, the next one is integrity that I have already explained the previous slide. And the last one is non-repudiation. So non-repudiation meaning is that suppose that a person A sign on a particular agreement, that these are the terms and conditions. On that, suppose that that person A simply sign on that agreement. Then later, due to any reason, he cannot deny that uh, he or she has not signed on that document. So that is the actual meaning of non-repudiation. So these are the things basically provided by the purpose of the cryptography. So in the cryptography, basically two types of cryptography. First one is secret key cryptography, and second one is public key cryptography. In case of secret key cryptography, a single key used between sender as well as receiver. Our secret key cryptography is also called as symmetric key cryptography because, as the name suggests, symmetric. That means same key is used between sender as well as receiver. But the problem with the secret key encryption scheme is that as we are living in a hostile environment, that means suppose that one person is in Delhi and another person is in USA, and though both party wants to communicate with each other, so how before starting the communication by using symmetric key cryptography, they can share the key. So that is the actual problem with the symmetric key cryptography. So in order to overcome that problem, we basically use a public key cryptography. In case of public key cryptography, basically we use two keys. First one is private key and second one is public key. So in order to see the how the public key cryptography work, so us let us consider example of our email system or simply Gmail. Suppose that we have a Gmail account, and suppose that I want to communicate some information with the HOD, right? So public key of the HOD is, so the email ID of the HOD is the public key. And suppose that we want to send some information to the HOD. So we simply use the email ID of the HOD and simply send the information on that email ID. And in order to see that message, HOD simply use his own password and extract the information. And that password is called as here private key. So in this way, our public key crypto system work. So these are the graphical representation. So as I have already mentioned, though, so public symmetric key crypto system simply work on the same key. That means suppose that we have a plain text, and in order to encrypt that plain text, we use simply the same key and convert it into the ciphertext. And in order to decrypt this ciphertext, again we use the same key and decrypt that plain text. But in case of public key crypto system, in order to encrypt the plain text, we will simply use the public key and encryption scheme, and then convert that plain text into the ciphertext. And then again we use the secret key and convert that ciphertext into the plain text. Another encryption scheme is also called as hash function or one-way function. We simply convert the plain text into ciphertext, but by using this ciphertext, we cannot find out the actual plain text. So this is the one-way function based encryption scheme. So now question is, how do we construct a secure symmetric key encryption scheme? So there are several methods for the constructing a symmetric key encryption scheme. We will see all of them one by one. The first one is by using one-time pad method. So in case of one-time pad method, first of all, we need to generate a L bit string using uniform distribution. And in order to encrypt the message of L bit, we simply perform the exclusive OR operation and send the ciphertext to the receiver. In order to decrypt that message by using the same key, the receiver simply use the ciphertext and the key and again perform the exclusive OR and compute the plain text. So this is the secure one-time pad encryption scheme. But this one-time pad scheme has some problem or drawbacks. First one is key space should be as large as message space. That means what is the meaning of this? So as you can see that here in this cryptography, in this secure uh, symmetric encryption, size of the message as well as the size of the key are same. That means suppose that we want to download or simply send a particular movie, and suppose that the size of the movie is around 2 GB. So for that we need to again construct a 2 GB secret key, which is very difficult to store and maintaining that secret key. So this is the actual problem behind the one-time pad. And another one is key cannot be reused. That means suppose that we have encrypted the same movie the by using same key 2 times. At that time, it will reveal the information of that movie. So this is the main actual drawback of the one-time pad. That means key should be as large as message space, and second one is key cannot be reused. So in order to overcome that problem, because key is as large as message space, so in order to overcome this problem, we have taken another method which is called as pseudo random generator method. So by using this method, we can overcome the first problem. So idea behind the pseudo random generator is that for a given in suppose that we have an n length key, and for the given n length key, it simply convert the n length key into the L length key, where L is very large as compared to n. That means it will convert simply low amount of bit into a high amount of bit in a secure way. So the basic definition of the or formal definition of the pseudo random generator is that suppose that L is a polynomial and G be a deterministic algorithm. So what is the meaning of deterministic algorithm here? So for the given same input, suppose that we have a same input, and suppose that we have same input, we feed into the G, which is deterministic algorithm, then every time it will give you the same output. That is the actual meaning of deterministic algorithm. And S, suppose that S we have chosen are uniformly random, and if we pass this value S into this algorithm G, then it convert the L length output. And we say that G is a pseudo random generator, then it must satisfy two conditions. First one is length of output must be greater than the length of input. And the second condition is that if we generate L length bit uniformly, and the output of the L length, so output of the L length bit by using this algorithm G should be indistinguishable by the adversary. That means अगर हमारे पास suppose that we have L R length, that means L length input, suppose that we have generated L length input, the L length output by using uniformly generated distribution, and we have also generated L length output by using this deterministic algorithm. If the output by using both the output, if any adversary cannot distinguish whether it is generated from the pseudo random generator or whether it is generated from uniformly generated, at that time we say that our algorithm is a pseudo random generator. So as our pseudo random generator convert a small bit input into the large bit output, so by using this way we can minimize the key length. So first of all, in order to encrypt a message using pseudo random generator, first of all we will generate n length key by using uniform distribution, and then in order to encrypt a L length message, we simply feed this key value to the pseudo random generator function. Then it will convert on this input, it will convert L length output, and then we have performed the exclusive OR operation. So in this way we can achieve low bit input to high bit input, high length input, and then encrypted and send the ciphertext to the receiver. In order to decrypt this ciphertext, the receiver simply use the same key and feed that same key into the pseudo random generator and convert it into the L bit output and perform the exclusive OR with the ciphertext. So in this way, he or she can decrypt the message. So this pseudo random generator overcome the problem of keys as large as the message space. So there are several attacks on the cryptography. First one is ciphertext only attack. So what is the meaning of ciphertext only attack? So given only the ciphertext, suppose that someone encrypted the message and sent the ciphertext. By using those ciphertext, the aim of the adversary is to determine the plain text. Next attack is chosen plain text attack. So in this attack, attacker has some encryption method or encryption algorithm on which he simply sends the message from of its choice and convert the ciphertext. And by observing the message as well as ciphertext, his aim is to determine the plain text of other ciphertext. Next one is chosen ciphertext attack. So again, it is similar to the chosen plain text attack, but here adversary has, in case of chosen plain text attack, adversary has encryption method, but in case of chosen ciphertext attack, adversary has decryption method. That means based on his or her choice, simply send the ciphertext to the decryption method and simply convert it into the plain text. And then he observed the plain text as well as ciphertext. And by analyzing the plain text and ciphertext pair, his or her aim is to achieve or derive the plain text from other ciphertext. So this is the formal proof or security proof of the above PRG pseudo-random generator based encryption scheme. So in order to prove how do we prove the above construction is secure or not, so for that we have taken attacker A, and attacker says that I will break the PRG based encryption scheme. In order to verify that, we have construct a PPT distinguisher, probabilistic polynomial time distinguisher, that if the attacker break the system, that means he can easily guess whether the number or key is simply generated from the pseudo-random or random. So in order to do that, we have again construct another challenger who simply generate a number W of its choice. Simply toss the coin. If he gets the tail or head, if he gets the tail, then he simply select the random number from the uniform distribution. If it gets head, then it will simply uh, take the number from the pseudo random generator and send it to the PPT distinguisher. And attacker sends two messages to the PPT distinguisher, and this distinguisher simply received this W, encrypt the message and send the encrypted message to the attacker. And after the analysis, attacker sends the guess bit B. That means this is either M0 or M1. For that, he simply gets the bit B dash and send it to the PPT distinguisher. If this B dash equals to B, if the guess was correct, then he says that yes, attacker has easily guessed and the construction is unsecure. But if it is not guess, that means B dash equals to B dash, then we say that our scheme is secure. So main drawback of the pseudo-random based encryption scheme is that it only provides the or it is only secure against the ciphertext only attack, but it is insecure against the chosen plaintext attack and chosen ciphertext attack. So question is, what is chosen plaintext attack and what is chosen ciphertext attack? We will see in a detail in the upcoming slide. So before we moving on that topic, first of all, we see the relation between the one-way function, PRG, and ciphertext only attack symmetric key encryption scheme. So as you can see that in this diagram, if one-way function exists, then only pseudo random generator exists. And if pseudo random generator exists, then we can only construct a secure ciphertext only attack symmetric encryption scheme. And if a ciphertext only attacks symmetric key encryption is secure symmetric encryption scheme, if it is a secure symmetric encryption scheme, that means there also exists a one-way function in this scheme. So this is the basic relation between one-way function, pseudo-random generator, and ciphertext only attack symmetric encryption scheme. Now, so as the previous scheme, pseudo-random generator based symmetric key encryption scheme is vulnerable to the chosen plaintext attack and chosen ciphertext attack. So our aim is to construct such symmetric key encryption scheme that is secure against the chosen plaintext attack. So before moving that, first of all, we need to know what is chosen plaintext attack. So in case of chosen plaintext attack, adversary first of all takes a set of pairs of plaintext and the ciphertext. That means based off on its choice or his choice, simply he sends the set of messages to the encryption oracle and get the set of ciphertext. And then we simply give two messages M0 and M1 to the adversary, and then attacker simply and we the then attacker simply sends the two messages to us, and then we simply encrypt that messages and send it to the attacker. Once the attacker simply receive the ciphertext, again he can choose a set of messages of its choice, and then we get the set of ciphertext by using encryption rule. Now the aim of the attacker is to finally guess what is the encryption we have done by using either M0 or M1. If it is successfully guess what is the encryption of M0 and M1, then we say that our scheme is unsecure. Otherwise, we say that our scheme is secure. So this is the actual meaning behind the chosen plain text attack. So as you can see that in the chosen plain text attack, adversary has a set of choice on the message, and he has received the set of encryption ciphertext, encrypted ciphertext. So in order to secure construction of chosen plain text attack, our aim is to simply construct an encryption procedure which is randomized. That means instead of constructing a deterministic encryption scheme, our aim is to construct a non-deterministic encryption scheme. That means suppose that we we want to encrypt a same message two times, then every time our encryption scheme must give the different ciphertext. So that is our aim. That means for during the encryption we need to add a fresh randomness, so that once the encryption completed, then we will get every time the different ciphertext, right? So this is the main aim. Sorry. The result of different, and our aim is to use the same key. So question is, how do we construct a CPA secure or chosen plain text attack secure encryption scheme? So for that we need to use pseudo random function. So what is, again question comes, what is pseudo random function? So suppose that a function which simply takes a key k and convert n length input to n length output on a key k. So this is our function capital F. And suppose that on another hand, we have a set of function which converts n length input into n length output without using key. So our aim is to construct any function such that no one can, given the input and output of the function, no one can determine whether this output is generated from the capital F or the output from the set of function, one of the function from the set of function. So this is the main aim. So this is called the pseudo random function. So in order to construct a secure symmetric encryption scheme by using pseudo random function, first of all we need to generate a uniform random key, and then we assume that f is a pseudo random function, and we simply feed this input k to this function. And apart from this, we have also generated a fresh random by using random number of n bit by using uniform distribution, and then we apply this key as well as this random function random value to this function, and then we will evaluate that function f, and then we perform the output of this function with m, and we get the value ciphertext C, and we send simply this value as well as random value to the receiver. And in order to decrypt this ciphertext, the receiver simply use the same key and this random value, and simply feed the key and random value to this function and perform the exclusive OR with the ciphertext S and compute the message. So as you can see that here, during the encryption scheme, we have every time we have feed the fresh uniformly random number. That means if we choose same message again and again, then it every time it will give you the different ciphertext. Why? Because every time we have chosen fresh random value. That's why every time ciphertext will get changed if the even the message is same. So again, the main drawback of the pseudo-random function-based encryption scheme is that it provides the ciphertext only attack, chosen security in the presence of chosen ciphertext attack, ciphertext only attack, but it is insecure against the chosen ciphertext attack. Again, question comes: what is chosen ciphertext attack? So, in the chosen ciphertext attack, apart from giving, in case of CP attack, we have given only encryption oracle to the adversary. But in case of chosen ciphertext attack, we are giving not only encryption oracle, as well as we have also given the encryption as well as decryption oracle to the adversary. That means attacker, uh, that means we simply, based on his or her choice, attacker can simply take the message, encrypt it into the ciphertext, or it can also choose the ciphertext and convert it into the plain text. Right? So in the training phase, based on his or her choice, he simply convert the plain text into the ciphertext and ciphertext into the plain text and observe those pairs. Next, the PPT attacker. Next, PPT attacker simply send two messages M0 and M1 to the challenger. Challenger simply toss a coin and encrypt the message MB. If it suppose that if it gets the value B, based on this value B, it simply encrypt the message and send the ciphertext to the attacker. After that, again based on his choice, attacker simply um, on his choice simply encrypt the message or decrypt the message. Once it again analyze uh, the ciphertext and plaintext pair, but only one condition is that he cannot decrypt the challenge ciphertext in this page, and then it simply extract the actual plaintext from the ciphertext and send it to the verifier. If both B dash, which is guessed by the adversary A, and the value B, which is taken by the challenger, if both are equal, that means we say that attacker win the game. Otherwise, we say that attacker has lost the game. So this is the actual meaning of the ciphertext, chosen ciphertext attack. Next one is, by using message authentication code, we can easily construct a chosen ciphertext attack symmetric encryption scheme. The first one is, so for that we again chosen a pseudo random function and we define a message authentication code. Again here we have chosen a uniform random key and we apply this key on the message, and we have created a tag and send this tag to the receiver in order to verify whether the particular on this message tag T, the verifier simply again compute this message on this message and key, simply compute the tag T and check whether the received tag and computed tag, if both are equal or not. If both are equal, then the message is legitimate. Otherwise, we will discard the message. So by using message authentication code, we can easily construct a chosen ciphertext attack secure encryption scheme. So first, in the first case, we have to generate two keys, K1 and K2, by using uniform distribution. And then by using key1, we simply encrypt the message by using any encryption, symmetric encryption scheme. And then we construct a ciphertext. And on this ciphertext C, we apply the message authentication code K with value K2 and computes the tag. And send the value ciphertext and T to the receiver. Receiver in order to verify whether this message is actually encrypted by the legitimate sender or not. For that, he simply use the MAC and decryption rule and verify whether the tag is correct or not. So this is the overall construction behind the symmetric key encryption scheme. Now we will discuss about the some basic preliminary behind the public key crypto system. So n is a set of natural numbers, set of non-negative, and not is a set of non-negative natural numbers, negative integers, and z is a set of integers, and p is a set of prime numbers. And next one is it is an Euclidean division algorithm. That means suppose that we have a number a, and when we will divide this number a by b, then a can be expressed as quotient into b plus r, where r is the remainder. So this is the GCD, which is greatest common divisor, and GCD of any number can be expressed as u into a plus b into b. That means GCD of, suppose that we want to find out GCD of a and b, then GCD of a and b can be expressed as u into a plus b into b, where a, u and b belongs to z. So it is basically used in the public key crypto system for the finding the inverse. So question is, how do we construct a GCD of a two number? So GCD of a two number can be constructed. First of all, we need to express 899 in the form. First of all, we need to divide 899 by 319. Then 2 is the quotient, 261 is remainder. Again, we need to divide 319 by 261. So quotient is 1. So in this way, the GCD final time the remainder will be 0. So GCD will be 29. And we can express this 29 in the form of UA into VB. So if you will express 29 by using these expression, then it can be represented as 5 into 899 plus minus 14 into 319. So here U is 5 and V is minus 14. The next one is modular arithmetic, which is primarily used in a public key crypto system. So what is addition modulo? Suppose that you want to find a plus b, then it will and modulo n. If a plus b is less than n, then we write the result a plus b as it is. If it is greater than or equals to n, then we simply subtract the value n until we get this result a plus b is less than n. Similarly, for the subtraction, a minus b can be written as a minus b as it is if a is greater than b. If it is a is less than b, then we simply write it as a minus b plus n. Next, the most important part of the public crypto system is inverse. Suppose that a is an invertible modulo n, then if we compute the value u into a, that means there exists a u, and suppose that we simply compute the u into a, and then we divide by n, and if it give you the remainder one, then we say that u is the inverse of a. So this is the example of modular arithmetic. And next one is modular exponential, which is also very important in the public key cryptography. So suppose that we want to perform the a raised to the power e by using modular exponential. But suppose that you simply write a square, aq, then it will require lots of time. But by using fast algorithm, we can perform the above computation in a very efficient way. For that, we need to convert this exponential in the binary form, and then we simply raise to the power and multiply them. So in this way, we can very fast way we can compute the modular exponentiation. Next one is Euler-Tocent function. So question is, what is Euler-Tocent function? So it will represent how many numbers are present in the set which are GCD, whose GCD from that modulo number is 1. For example, suppose that Z6 contains the element 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this Euler-Tocent function will give you the total number of element in this set whose GCD from this modulo 6 is 1. So as you can see that here, in if you will perform the modulo GCD from any one of the element from this set and 6, that means GCD of 0 comma 6, which will be 6, GCD of 1 comma 6, which will give you the 1. So in this way you can find out the total number of element will be 2. So what is the formula for the Euler-Tocent function is, so this is the actual formula of the Euler-Tocent function. That means how many numbers in this set whose GCD from 6 is 1. So as you can see that here only number 1 and number 5 whose GCD from 6 is 1. That's why Euler-Tocent function gives you the value 2. So next one is the very important Fermat-Little theorem. Suppose that if a is any number and if you will perform the power of p minus 1, where p is any number here, and p minus 1, then that value will be always give you the remainder 1. And again, here p is the prime number, and suppose that if n is any number here and a belongs to some integer, then suppose that a raised to the power 5, if you want to compute, then it will again also give you the remainder 1. Next one is multiplicative order. What is the order of an element? So order of an element is that suppose that you want to raise to the power some value h, and if it is give you the 1 modulo, that means remainder 1 when you will divide the value to n. That time we can say that the order of a will be h. So as you can see that here in this example we have a number 17, and if you will perform a raised to the power s, and we assume that a is 2. So if you will compute 2 raised to the power 8, then it will give you the remainder 1. That means order of 2 in this scenario is 8. So accordingly, you can apply these theorems. So next one is primitive root. So a number a is said to be primitive root modulo n. That means order of a is equals to tocent function n. For example, suppose that if we have n equals to 17, and if you will perform 3 raised to the power 16, and when you will perform Euler-Tocent function on n, then it will give you the 16. So 3 raised to the power 16 will give you 1. That means 3 is the primitive root. Next one is discrete logarithm problem. So what is discrete logarithm problem? So it is basically our recent cryptographic construction are based on the this security. So discrete logarithm problem states that given g to the power x and the value a, you cannot find the value x, which is an NP-hard problem. Next common or hard problem is integration factorization problem. And this states that suppose that we have a two large prime number p and q, and if you will perform the computation, if you will find the product of two large prime number, and given the product of two large prime number, finding that product number, that means either P or Q, which is very difficult. It is again a hard problem. Next one is Diffie-Hellman problem, which is also a NP hard problem. So what is Diffie-Hellman problem? So given g to the power x, g is a primitive root, and g to the power y, finding or computing g to the power xy modulo p, which is a very difficult task. So next one is public key crypto system. So what is public key crypto system? As I have already mentioned, in the public key crypto system, we have two keys, public key and private key. In order to encrypt a message, the sender simply use the recipient public key and convert this plain text into the ciphertext and transfer this ciphertext uh, to the receiver. Receiver uses his or her own private key and convert it into the plain text. So first public key crypto system is RSA encryption scheme. So first phase is key generation. In the key generation phase, first of all, we need to generate two large prime number, and then we find the product of two large prime number, and then the Euler tangent function of this value n, which is p minus 1 and q minus 1. And then we need to find an integer a. OGC from e from phi will be 1. And then we have to compute another value d, which is satisfy the condition e into d congruent to 1 modulo phi n. So here the public key will be n comma e and private key will be n comma d. So in order to encrypt any message, we need to simply take the message and we need to use the public key, that is n comma e. We need to simply perform the m raised to the power e, and then we have to perform the modulo n and send the ciphertext c to the receiver. The receiver uses the simply secret key, which is n comma d, that means c to the power d, and perform the modulo and convert the plain text. So this is the how the RSA works. Basically, it is a proof of correctness. So by using Euler-Tangent rule, we know that m raised to the power phi n will be 1 modulo n. So ED is represented like this, 1 of 1 plus k into phi n, because it is divisible by, as it is a give you remainder 1. So if you will, ED can be written as like this. So that's why we have written k plus phi n. So if you will perform the modulo phi n, so by using Euler-Tangent function, it will give you this value will become you 1, and this value will give you the message m. Next one is in the public key crypto system, we have a digital signature. So what is digital signature? So in the digital signature, the signer simply sign a particular message and send it to the verifier, and verifier uses the signer public key and verify that message. So this is the actual block diagram of the digital signature. The signer simply takes the message, perform the hash algorithm, and compute the hash of.
Sir, you are not audible right now.
Okay, now I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. So it simply sends the cipher signature and data to the verifier. Verifier simply take the data and compute the message digest by using hash function and apply the signature on the verification algorithm and based on the signer public key and compute the hash value. If both are equal, then recipient says that the message is legitimate. Otherwise, it throw the message or discard the message. So this is the actual public key crypto system. Public key digital signature, the RSA based digital signature scheme. So key generation phase is similar to the RSA encryption scheme, but only there is only change in the signature generation. So in the signature generation, the signer simply take the message and use his public key and computes the signature as by using m raised to the power d and send it to the signature as well as message to the verifier. In order to verify this message, the verifier simply uses the public key of the signer, which is n comma e, and compute s raised to the power e and check whether s raised to the power is congruent to m or not. If it is, then we say that the sign is correct. Otherwise, sign is incorrect. So in this way, we can construct a digital signature scheme. So this is all about. So in the today's webinar, we have seen uh, basic or secure construction of symmetric encryption scheme by using one-time pad, pseudo-random generator, and pseudo-random function. And then we have seen also basic primitives of the public key crypto system, that is number theory concept. And then we have also seen the construction of public encryption scheme by using RSA as well as digital signature by using RSA. So this is all about from my side. Any question?
Thank you so much, sir. Audience, do you have any questions? I think there is no question. Um, so first of all, I am very thankful to you for accepting our request and taking out time for this wonderful presentation that you have presented today. And I would also like to thank the head of the department, CSE, to motivate us to have such kind of arrangement where we are able to exchange the information uh, in this uh, in this way. And I would also like to thank the entire department for providing the support throughout. And at the last, I would like to thank all the attendees for this webinar, for your time and attention throughout this webinar. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Vijay.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Sekshan and Sundar, for inviting me for this webinar. Thank you, everyone.
So we would like to have you in future as well for sharing your knowledge with our students and the whole university
Definitely,
as well.
definitely, ma'am, definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
okay, okay.